So, thus, without further ado, I am so very humble and grateful to be speaking with the one and only Montia Garcia of the Perfect Puree of Napa Valley. Perfect Puree, Puree.com, just like it sounds, perfectpuree.com. Montia, how are you doing on this Wednesday, just about the last day of April already?
I know that this whole year has kind of flown by, but I'm doing great. Happy to be here with you, Judson.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And this is an exciting podcast because not only do we get to whisk ourselves away to mentally being in Napa Valley, metaphorically, yet further to discuss something that you don't often get to discuss on a podcast, and further to discuss it with what you're doing with the perfect puree of Napa Valley. And I am confident that 99.999% of those that will initially be listening to this will have absolutely no idea of what you do at the Perfect Puree, which is a foundation of flavor and a world of possibility.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, Montia, please elaborate as to exactly what the Perfect Puree of Napa Valley is.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that because it definitely from the consumer side, like if you're, the patron at the bar and you're not the bartender, for you from your side, I can say that, we're probably that secret ingredient and that excellent margarita that you had at your favorite bar or when you were on vacation somewhere and you're like, I just wish I could make that at home. A lot of consumers find us that way. They asked the bartender, what was that flavor in there? And so they're like, oh, it was Perfect Puree's blood orange concentrate.
Mhm.
And so then they end up buying it from our website and they can make that margarita or, blood orange mule or whatever it could be at
Right.
home.
That's what I had a feeling. So it's that, there are times where you do go to those special times where you go to whether it's your favorite restaurant or bar or a new one, and you end up getting a cocktail that you order or someone orders quite often at great establishments. But then this one time, they leave, you leave or they leave, and they think that that had to be the greatest same drink I get all the time. What was in it? And it's this magic that because this is something that, and that's why it's such a beautiful opportunity for us to have this conversation and for people to hear about it because you're that magic that again, no one really because you don't see the perfect puree. I'm very fortunate to have been
Exactly. Yeah.
introduced to you by our dear friend Debbie Rizzo, and but otherwise I would not have known. And I'm very familiar with the industry and restaurants and dining and whatnot. So it's you're like that. You're that silver bullet.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. We are very much behind the scenes, and I think a lot of that is because the product that we're selling really is just fruit. So, on menus, they're not going to say perfect puree, blackberry puree. They're going to say that, this drink or this dish, it actually has blackberry in it because that's a true statement. So, I do think that's why we are kind of behind the scenes, but in food service, all of the chefs, all of the bartenders are super familiar with our products. They love them. We have a very dedicated following. So, um, but yeah, on the consumer side, not so much.
But the that being said, as I'm once again looking at your beautiful website, by the way, very well done. And the consumer, though, anyone can go to perfectpuree.com and create their own arsenal, so to speak, at their home bar or at their own get-togethers or whatnot of creating the greatest drinks, and then also adding to foods and whatnot, as you mentioned, on the planet. I mean, the flavors that you have are just absolutely incredible from apricot, banana, blackcurrant, blackberry, all the way down to prickly pear, white peach, tamarind, lemon zest, lime zest. It's amazing. And so, how did the perfect puree come to be, and how do you? I mean, this is just such an amazing menu, so to speak, for people to select from.
Yeah, so our company was founded in 1988. Our founder's name is Tracy Hayward. So she had a background in business and culinary, and she saw a massive opportunity in the United States for starting a puree company. And that is because at that time, most of the well-known puree companies in the States, they were European brands. So she wanted to start something that was, an American-made company. And so she started it from the ground up. She was, hand delivering orders herself at first, starting with one flavor, two flavor, and we've just expanded over the years, and we're now widely distributed all through the US to food service distributors, produce distributors. So she really grew the business to what it is today.
What a beautiful story. And so the Perfect Puree is not only an exceptional entrepreneurial story, but it's also um, a rock and roll female entrepreneur story, which is
Yeah,
which is
and it was a definitely she was a rock star because it was a male dominated time back in the late 80s, early
80s, yeah.
90s. And so she was very tenacious though, and she she found those chefs. She would go around to the back of the restaurant and come in through their secret chef door, back where they come in through the kitchen, and she would get in there and talk to them and say, "I need you to try this tamarind puree," or "I need you to try this raspberry puree." And of course, anybody who tries the products, they fall in love with them immediately.
Right.
That's how it happens. So,
Yeah.
yeah, she was a go-getter for sure.
What a great story. What an amazing woman. I love that story. I love stories like that. And just having such belief in her product. She just went out and just, I'm going to get this done. That's
Exactly.
fantastic. We should have her on a cover of Elevated Wine, Spirits, and Cuisine magazine. We absolutely should. Or
I
Elevated
bet.
Women's Lifestyle too. We that would be great. That's a good story to tell. And especially to do it back in the 80s. I know some friends, especially female restaurateurs. So, similar crossing the same similar lines that back in Aspen and certain places where they went out to they bought restaurants or whatnot. But to do it back then, it's just such a different landscape, a
Right,
completely
right.
different time across demographics, genders. I mean, you name it. And so, as you so aptly said, even that much more significant that she did it then
Exactly. Yeah.
in the 80s.
Great.
Yeah, in the 80s. And so, how is business overall? I'm guessing that it's doing incredibly well, but how is it this year versus last year? How
Yeah.
how do you look at the industry and how does it consistently grow?
Right. Well, our products are so versatile. They can be used in so many different things. So, of course, we're very well known for being used in cocktails, or spirit-free offerings, but we're also used by bakeries, we're used by pastry chefs, we're used by kitchens. There's even some brewers, if they're making fruit beers, they'll use our products. So just kind of having that diversity in customer, like it really helps us, continuing and as well as always introducing new flavors and new products. Like our offerings are so great that business is always good for us. And I know that some restaurants have had challenges with inflation, and one solution that we've provided is, if they're not able to source maybe local fruit for whatever reason, or the labor that it takes to take that local fruit and puree it by hand, we're a great solution for that because
Mhm.
it is quite a process to puree that fruit and then make it sweet enough and good enough to use for actual service. So with our product, they can just unscrew the jar and thaw it out and it's ready to go. So,
Absolutely. It's quite a process. And that's why, going back to the beginning of our conversation, that you don't even if you live in an area or whether you're traveling and whatnot, you don't order cocktails and whatnot that typically blow your mind. They're fine. They're what you expect, but they don't have that again that magic to them. And it's quite frankly, it's because one, people don't expect it, right? So that people can get away with not doing it, and
right.
it does take time and it takes effort. And even when you put the time and the effort in, as you just said, if you don't know exactly what you're doing, it still may not turn out that well. So then it's a waste of
Yeah,
money and time and whatnot. So I
exactly.
think a lot of people just don't even bother. They just
Right.
and again, they can get away with not doing it. But then if you up your game, it's noticed. It really is. And
Exactly.
as you know, you don't need me to tell you that, but it is. Like people will literally go to a place if that cocktail is absolutely simply above and beyond anything that you can get wherever you might be living, whether it's in Aspen or the Hamptons or New York or whatever it might be. It's you will do anything you can to get to where that cocktail is being served, and you don't even know that it's the perfect puree of Napa Valley that's making it that way.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so, with respect to distribution of your amazing offerings, as you put it, can people just are they widely accessible in grocery stores, or is it for the most part? How tell me about that.
Yes, so on the distributor side, that's kind of where we direct chefs, bartenders, business owners to purchase. It's a frozen product, so as you can imagine, shipping something frozen, it does have to ship overnight, and you have to include dry ice. So it can be, a little bit of a, pricey endeavor to order that, to have something shipped to you that's frozen. So. We offer it on our website. It's always available, but for chefs and bartenders, they purchase locally from their distributor. We are not in grocery stores. We did kind of explore having a retail line years ago. I think at the time the world wasn't quite ready for puree quite yet, or even some of the flavors we were offering. But American palettes have really expanded, like mango and passion fruit. Those are all, kind of key flavors now. And years ago, they weren't, as widely known. For the consumer side, they can always order from our website, but we do have some new products coming out soon that we are going to consider kind of extending that into retail. And one of those are our new culinary inspired syrups.
Ah, fantastic, fantastic. And I also think it's such a what crosses my mind is, and you can see this emerging more and more with respect to how the type of demographics that especially in the United States, that we're evolving into is what's becoming incredibly popular, especially among, say, our audience or the affluent and whatnot, is people are creating, they've been doing it for years, but now it's becoming much more common, is people, and you see it in certain places that you live, again, whether it's in the ski towns or in the right beach communities, you will, as you're on a walk or whatnot, you will see homes that have their own home bar that is 10 times better than any bar you're going to find in town. And so they're fully stocked. I mean, you
Yeah.
look at it and you say, like, how do I get on the list so that I can go? Because I mean, they're that nice. And there are articles about it. People are doing it. So I think that would be a strong potential market for you as well, because you have so many markets like that and it makes sense. It's why, I have this whether it's a 20, 30, 40, $50 million home, and I have this built-in bar, have everyone come over. And literally they have bars that look better than what is down the
Right.
street. And the one down the street is a, five diamond, four diamond restaurant, whatever. And so I would think that would be, because I know that if and when I do have that, and all of my friends are gathering, I will have the perfect puree of Napa Valley being added to the drinks.
Happy to hear that.
So, is there anything that I have not asked you yet that I should have, or anything that we didn't talk about that you'd like to? It's such a beautiful product in all its simplicity. I'm going to buy some. I'm going to leave the webpage open that I'm looking at right now, which again is very well designed at Perfect Puree, Puree.com. I'm going to buy some because I want to try it with cooking, as you touched upon. I think that
Yes,
there's so
yeah.
much you could do with cooking.
Yeah, so I would like to kind of touch upon our syrup line a little bit more. It's a brand new syrup line that just launched in March. We've been kind of looking at syrups throughout the years. We were, we didn't want to rush into that market just because it is such a crowded market. There's all kinds of syrups out
Yeah.
there, like everything has been done. And so when we approached this product, we wanted to do it different. We didn't want to do Me Too flavors, which is what we call them if you're just doing something that's already been done. So we wanted to do this the perfect puree way. And so we I wanted to design some syrups that were culinary inspired. So syrups that could do well in beverage, but also do well in culinary and dessert sweet applications. Um, so approaching it from that angle, it kind of opened up like we didn't want to, pigeonhole ourselves with certain things like, oh, this would be good for a drink, but could it also be good for this, you know?
Hmm.
So we looked at fruit flavors, herbal flavors, botanical flavors, and we came together to create a line of some really interesting flavor profiles. One of being honeysuckle orange blossom. We have a plum gochu, yuzu juniper thyme, chai cardamom, and we do offer two just straight flavors, our passion fruit and our blood orange.
Wow, all of those sound amazing.
Yeah. And all of these are shelf stable. So the what is so different about this is all of the products we've offered for nearly 40 years, they've all been frozen products. So for us to offer flavor in a shelf stable format is just it's it's big news for anybody who knows our products.
Yeah.
So everybody's super excited about that. We're excited about that, and it's really amazing to me. That this passion fruit syrup, it is made with the same passion fruit juice that we use in our passion fruit concentrate. And using them together, they taste the same. And it is
Oh,
incredible that you can get that true to fruit flavor in a shelf-stable syrup.
that is amazing.
Yeah, and it's non-GMO and everything is all natural ingredients. So it's a really good product and it tastes like the fruit it's supposed to. Unlike, many syrups out there that
Yeah.
taste kind of more like a candy version
Yeah.
of what you imagine a certain flavor is. So
They're not even worth trying.
yeah, so we're very excited about them.
That's really exciting. I mean, that to me sounds like it will be one of the most significant developments for the Perfect Puree as a company, correct?
Yeah, definitely. Yes. And we are working some on even more exciting new products launching later this year. We're going to be working on a fruit foam. We have been teasing it at trade shows here and there, so you may have tried it at Winter Fancy Fair, Bar and Restaurant Expo. We will have it at the NRA, National Restaurant Association trade show and Bar Convent Brooklyn, and possibly Tales of the cocktail as well. So our fruit foams are all vegan. So if you can imagine whipped cream,
Mhm.
but this is made completely with fruit and it is vegan, so there's no dairy ingredients.
Wow.
So kind of the fluffiness that you would get with a whipped cream, and creaminess and mouthfeel, but with the element of it being made with real fruit. So it's a very different new product. It's going to be a great topper for beverages, great topper for desserts. So that's another exciting new one in the works.
That almost sounds like magic. It almost doesn't sound possible.
Right.
I mean, when you think of whipped cream, which is, I'm not putting down whipped cream as but whipped cream. I mean, that's something people literally, still use it to if they're doing what they're not supposed to and using what's in the can to get high. And so you have this
Right.
product that's not really that great for you. I mean, it looks great and it tastes great, but then so you're the antithesis of that to and to think of whipped cream actually created with because I don't. Do you know what real whipped cream's created with? I don't. Is it meth? I'm not sure, but it's definitely not. It's nothing close to what real fruit.
Yeah, yeah, the whipped cream. Yeah, I think it's a lot of sugar, cream, and yeah, the nitrous oxide kind of, does the kind of the foaming of it. But yeah, it was really a brand new product category to the point when, there was no kind of set product regulations on like this is how you do a fruit-based foam because we were the first to do it. So
Oh,
it's been kind of an interesting learning experience, but seems like the great time for it because, cold foams are popular right now for, on coffee and teas. And so, yeah, it'll be another exciting offering that we have.
it really is, and this is after such as successful as you put it. It's often when you think about it, because I am from the just before the 80s, so I think about, but I don't think about it as what you said, 40 years, but it actually has been that long. But so for a company started on the backs of a female entrepreneur visionary, and 40 years now, and then 40 years in an industry where often it doesn't necessarily seem as though you can have these for a company, these cataclysmic accelerated growth opportunities, and yet here you are on two that you've created. That's fantastic. That's incredible. That must be exciting.
Yeah, and we really pride ourselves on being an innovative company. We always try to be ahead of trends. Typically, we're doing it more strictly in the puree arena, so we're looking for new fruit flavors that we can see coming down the trend line. And but for these products, it was kind of more of a product innovation. So we really are entering a new chapter for the company, and it's very exciting.
That really is. That really is. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for sharing all of that. And now that I have been so fortunate to have had just about 30 minutes of your time, and I don't want to overdo it, Montia Garcia, Director of Marketing for the Perfect Puree of Napa Valley. I must ask, do you live in Napa Valley?
I live near Napa Valley. But I can say I work in Napa Valley every day because I do come into the office, but
That is like one of my favorite areas. I live Napa, Sonoma, and I actually lived in Northern California. Do you know Ukiah?
yes, yeah, beautiful area.
It is. It's not the greatest place to go to high school, which is what I did, but it is a beautiful area. But that is fantastic that you get to work in Napa Valley every day. It's such a lovely
Yeah,
community, people, and it's almost like working in a little version of Never Never Land.
right.
Yeah. All right, Montia, thank you so much. Is there anything else that I should have asked you that I didn't or that we didn't discuss that you would like to?
Yeah, I just if there's any chefs or bartenders listening, I just encourage you to check out our website. You can order samples of our fruit purees or samples of our new syrups. We offer those free for professional bartenders and chefs. So just check out our website, perfectpuree.com, and look forward to connecting with you all.
Thank you so much, Montia Garcia, the perfect puree of Napa Valley. Perfect, PerfectPuree.com, just like it sounds. Thank you for listening to this Elevated Magazine's podcast and enjoy your May before summer is here, which it will be very quickly. Take care, Montia. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
Bye bye.